Okay, so season 2 of the Netflix Devil May Cry anime, or adaptation if you prefer, has finally been released, and while I'm sorting through my own thoughts and feelings about season 2, I thought it would be a good idea to check in with the wider Devil May Cry community to get their take on it. Season 1 was fairly divisive, and unsurprisingly, Season 2 isn't faring much better. I'm going to start with Reddit, as there are several Devil May Cry themed subreddits available, and what better place to start than the Devil May Cry Netflix subreddit itself, which was set up specifically to discuss the show. I'm Blackstar Xero, just call me Xero, and welcome to the Blackstar Xero YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the video, please do consider leaving a comment, dropping a like, or even subscribing for future content. I discuss anime and manga related topics here, and also on the KTT podcast, with new episodes released every 2 weeks. So we're going to be looking at the post-season 2 discussion thread, and our first poster here says, never played the games, but really interested in the reactions that fans of the games are having. 1. The music was very good in some scenes, but destroyed my immersion in others. Facts. 2. Dante and Virgil's devil triggers are ugly. I think they're also ugly in the game, based on what's on Google Images, but 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Boy, if you don't...
Hard disagree on that one. Maybe in the PS2 versions, the devil triggers for Alistair and Ifrit, they look badass, but they weren't the best looking, probably due to the limitations on the hardware at the time. But definitely moving forward, especially from Devil May Cry 3 onwards, devil triggers are not ugly in the game. I don't know what you're smoking, bro. 3. I feel nothing for Dante X Lady. It's not for me, but clearly for others. Okay, I can kind of see this because I saw that they were teeing up the Dante Lady romance from season 1, and it kind of gave me the ick. Lady's first introduction was in Devil May Cry 3, and while Dante was flirty with her in some of the cutscenes, she didn't seem very receptive to that. She was very focused on achieving her goals, taking out Arkham and everything like that. They then went on to have a very good friendship and somewhat good business relationship. She brings him jobs, but screws him out, a lot of the money, probably because he destroys a lot of the locality and, surrounding and stuff like that. That was further expounded, I believe, in the 2009 Devil May Cry series. So we can kind of see the dynamic that they had previously. Romance really wasn't in there. Having said that, within the context of the show, it somewhat makes sense, because if we look at the field, there aren't really any good candidates for a love interest for Dante. Trish isn't here yet, and she's essentially a clone of his mom Ava, so that would just be gross. Lucia isn't in the series. We saw her getting arrested, if you recall. So there really isn't anybody else to put up as a possible love interest for Dante. So in the context of the show, it somewhat makes sense. 4. The best scenes were Dante and Virgil interaction. Loved the tragedy of their relationship. Virgil was characterized really clearly as someone driven by wrath and the desire to never be helpless again. I don't feel that Dante got the same care and attention. I agree 100%. The showing for Dante in season 2 is piss poor. 5. Mundus is hella gay for Sparta. I'm probably misinterpreting the vibe. Dante straight up says it's manipulation to control Virgil by minimizing his relationship with Ava and attempting to raise and groom Virgil as Sparta's successor. Gave me the impression he was by my side for centuries. Yeah, probably disgruntled X vibes. 6. Enjoy the parallel that Virgil as an adopted son turning against Mundus falls in line with Greek mythos, where Kronos usurps Uranus, Argosax, and Zeus usurps Kronos. Not sure if it's intentional. 7. I Canvassed for You really tickled me. I can see how the political angle that the show took is problematic, but I appreciate an attempt to give dimension to a world that seems like it would be black and white. Again, haven't played the games. I can't stand to fix this dude. What? I can't stand to fix this dude. Ali inserted himself into the series so hard that he turned the demon world literally into Afghanistan. You spelled Afghanistan wrong, bro. They're Macayans, not demons. War on Hell, a very not subtle version of Western war on terrorism. Virgil taking about... Bro, what the fuck? Learn to type. Virgil talking about... Oh my god, I had a stroke trying to read this. My main issue with the show is how Dante lets Lady walk all over him. He can't seem to hold a grudge. She constantly attacks and shoots him, yet the story barely ever acknowledges how messed up that is from his perspective. He even gets stood up by her in the end. The show has completely soured me on the idea of them getting together. Lady's actions prove time and time again that she'll keep lying to and manipulating Dante, and he'll just accept it. And somehow I'm supposed to find that sweet. This also ties into the fact that Dante can't seem to win any meaningful fights this season. He just constantly loses over and over again. It's honestly hard to watch, man. I think it's an improvement from season 1 in a lot of ways, but I also see the flaws within it. Still a net positive in my opinion, a lot more action. Lady's character is a step in the right direction. The music is great, especially when I'm on a new metal high right now. Arius was both a compelling villain and had a massive glow up compared to his game portrayal. Hard agree. Oh my god, I cannot remember Arius from the games, but Arius in this version, oh my god, so good, so good. One of the best things. I'll touch on this more in my actual review, but if it's one thing this season does very well, it's the villains. It does the villains very, very well. White Rabbit, Baines, Arius, excellent. Excellent villain. It's not quite the sympathetic villain, but you know why they're a villain. You understand why they become a villain. With Arius and the White Rabbit, you get it. Or even Virgil. You understand why they became villains because of the life they led. So if it's one thing this series does, it's the villains. It does villains extremely well. And I'm very much looking forward to see what they do with Sanctus going forward, the Order of the Sword and everything like that. Looking forward to seeing how you're going to spin that. Arius was both a compelling villain and had a massive glow up compared to his game portrayal. Dante and Virgil's dynamic was both on point and different in a good way. A 9 out of 10 from me. Say what you will about the show and Addy, but it's clear there's a lot of effort and heart being put into it. And if it means there's a real shot at more DMC content, I'm all for it. I don't think there's any real danger of DMC not getting any more content unless this person specifically means more animated content, then fine. Okay, so switching gears, we're gonna move over to the Devil May Cry main sub for its post-season 2 discussion thread. This poster says, Dante holds back and he's too kind in this anime and he doesn't know how to use his devil trigger well. Well, no duh. It's new to him, and immediately after unlocking the bloody thing, he gets put on ice by Lady. So it's not as if he's had time to practice it, whereas Virgil has been using his devil trigger, fighting against demons constantly, day in, day out. Virgil being a lot more proficient in using his devil trigger makes a lot more sense in this version. We don't know when Virgil unlocked his devil trigger in the main series. Why did Dante lose all the time against Virgil? Wasn't he supposed to be stronger sibling and his strength the reason for Virgil's grudge? Yes and no. Devil May Cry 3. You fight Virgil, if I remember, 3 times. First time at the top of Tamina Guru, Dante got his ass absolutely handed to him. The second time they fought further down the depths where you need to actually activate the tower's mechanism, that was a draw. Then the third time they fought, Dante won. So it's 1 loss, 1 draw, 1 win. Move on to Devil May Cry 1, the beginning of the series, and Dante loses to Nilo Angelo in the first instance. The necklace falls from Dante's coat and that kind of jogs Nilo Angelo Virgil back. You know, it kind of triggers a memory and he kind of starts fighting the brainwashing and then he kind of like ports back to the demon realm. In the third fight, that's where Virgil seemingly dies, and probably where we get the name from because he actually sheds a tear for Virgil there. You understand? And that's where we hear the name Virgil. So that's where we kind of put 2 and 2 together. Oh, these two are related. The models didn't look identical, so you couldn't really say they were twins back then. Come to find out much later on. Devil May Cry 3 and Devil May Cry 1, where most of Dante and Virgil's interactions happen, Dante wasn't the clear cut. If I remember correctly, Virgil's a better swordmaster than him. Dante is stronger because he embraces his humanity. That gives him the edge, but Virgil's a mirror reflection of Dante. So no, it's not specifically that Dante is stronger than Virgil. It's more that Dante embracing his humanity gives him that bit of edge. But I'm pretty certain that Virgil was always the better swordsman. Can someone please explain why the show was bad? Like, yeah, I did not play the game, so I can't say much about that. But the show by itself was amazing. I don't get why people are calling it bad. I enjoyed every episode, good fights, good music, good animation. It was a good show for me. Maybe it got stuff from the game wrong, but that doesn't bother me because I didn't play them. Don't get how y'all are calling it a bad show. Call it inaccurate all you want, but don't call it bad because it's great. And somebody actually responds to this one. Even as a show on its own merits, it's really not very good. The plot is naff, the characters are weak at best, the relationships between them are underdeveloped, and the fight scenes, at least in my opinion, lack dynamism. That's my teeth in for that one. They lack all the flair of Devil May Cry, and that is about as fundamental to the identity of the franchise as Dante himself. And on the basis of it being an adaptation, I know you haven't played the games, but it's incredibly irreverent of the story, themes and characters. It still wants to jingle the keys in our face with these surface level references. With one hand, it tries to play at being a DMC show with meme iconography, whilst on the other hand, punches you in the cock for expecting it to actually be a Devil May Cry show. It's not just that it's inaccurate to the series. That would be fine if it maintained the same ethos and respect for the characters. The problem is that it's something else entirely whilst wearing the skin of Devil May Cry. I think this poster is going a bit too hard in the paint, but I do believe that if there was more of an attempt at a middle ground made by the showrunners, it probably wouldn't receive as much backlash. Couple more, painfully average 5 out of 10. You're lying to yourself. Never played the game, the shows were awesome. Common theme here. You never played the games, you love the show. But if you played the games, you have this cognitive dissonance, or at least I do, where I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, but every fucking thing irks me. Liked it, but Dante having any kind of romantic interest feels very weird. Dude is basically asexual. You can go drop it. I don't see why Virgil gets to crack and Dante has to be asexual. Fuck that. Fuck that. Okay, one more and then we'll move on to another social media platform to get their takes on the Devil May Cry Season 2 adaptation. If Dante won even one fight this season, it was a lot. Those training dummies he shot were the only W. Oh my god. It's so bad. It is so bad. Dante got, oh, it's so bad, and he's the MC. Oh my god. Okay, so to round out the video, I'm gonna look at a few posts from Threads and also from Blue Sky. I'm not on Twitter anymore, so I don't have any idea of what that cesspool looks like right now. So first post here on Blue Sky, Devil May Cry Season 2 is probably one of the worst video game adaptations I have ever witnessed in the sense of how it respects its source material. There is none. The creator obviously thought he could tell the story and made this quite frankly insulting fanfiction with a budget. God, please let there be a third season of Devil May Cry, otherwise I can't cope with this fucking emotional mess they've left each other in. The duality of man, folks. I've only seen Season 1, planned on watching Season 2 this weekend. I found it pretty enjoyable. I don't care for a lot of the story changes, especially with Lady's origin. Also, it felt like they were just random grabbing bosses from the series for no real reason than because we can. I will say also, the Demon Realm got a big shift in what it was, but I genuinely thought Rabbit Guy was a great character. So it's got some changes that mess with my dumb fanboy brain, but I still found the overall tone enjoyable. And I think that kind of encapsulates what I'm saying. I enjoy the series, but there are things in the series that really fucking irk. The shit looks good moment to moment, but certain plot points just don't mesh up real well. You understand? And the fact that we've now killed off the main villain or villains from Devil May Cry 2 and we're heading into a Devil May Cry 3-esque setup to then move on to Devil May Cry 1-esque setup, even though we already had the introduction of Mundus and Virgil's fight and all that. It's weird. It is very weird, but I enjoy the show. Devil May Cry anime on Netflix absolutely fucks, and if you're dumping on it, you're just hating for the sake of hating. Nah, I'm hating on it because I'm actually a fan of the franchise and the original games. I will leave these on the screen for you to read if you so choose. Pause the video, have a look through it, see what people are saying. My final thoughts, having gone through Reddit, Threads, Blue Sky and so forth, how the community is responding. It's still divisive. It is, in my opinion, a good show, but a bit confused. And the best way to enjoy this show is to pretend you know nothing about Devil May Cry. And I'm not saying that, you know, you just need to be brain dead and lobotomized to do it, but if you approach the show that you've never seen anything from the Devil May Cry video game series before, you'll have an easier time digesting the series. Anyways, that's enough from me. I'm Blackstar Xero. Thanks again for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, please do consider leaving a like, a comment, or even subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out, and I will see you for the full review. Bye.